Tucker Carlson spoke at a Turning Point USA event. Interesting, considering that's not what the donors want. We all know this because of the Charlie Kirk stories that have been released. But he did speak there. And it's not like he stood there and gave a long speech. He took questions from the audience. And I think you need to hear what the young people had to say. So you can see it here, the entrance. Tucker Carlson is at Indiana University for a TPUSA event, and it is packed house tonight. Certain donors are not going to be happy about this. No, they're not. They were cheering for him. Yeah, so this is not what the donors wanted, right? Isn't this like not what the donor class wanted? But here we are. So it's happening anyway. That's what Charlie Kirk wanted, according to the messages that we saw. And I think you need to hear what some of these students said to Charlie Kirk. Of course, I'm not Charlie Kirk, excuse me, said to Tucker Carlson. Of course, Charlie Kirk's name was mentioned. There was brief talk about that, but also there was discussion about what is happening to the Republican Party and the fracturing that these young people are noticing. And this is why I say I really think we have to look towards the young people. We have to give them a little bit more credit. These kids are waking up, especially when it even comes to foreign policy and the deep state. Let's go ahead and get started here.
Early, first going on college campuses, which I haven't really visited since I left college in shame 35 years ago. But I love the idea of people being able to ask any question they want. And I just have spent my life giving a ton of speeches and taking relatively few questions. So I am grateful I'm the beneficiary of this. So without further ado, I just want to take questions. I can speak forever. If you ever had dinner with me, you know that. I could probably speak for 3 hours and another thing. But I would much rather hear what you think. And I should also say, by the way, my wife left for the week to visit one of our children, and I had the dogs. And so I guess I need a household staff. But anyway, I thought, we were in Maine this morning. I was like, you guys want to go to Indiana? Okay. So they came. So I hope they won't be a distraction, but they're very nice. We hunted this morning, actually. They're great dogs. So the one thing I've been asked to say is that disagreements take priority, and Turning Point will help bring you to the front of the line. Whatever that means. So without further ado, please hit me with your questions. You can't hurt my feelings. I will answer as honestly as I possibly can and as cheerfully as I can. And, feel no need to be cheerful to me, but I will be to you. So first question.
Here we go.
Tucker, this is awesome. Thank you for being here today.
Oh man, thank you for having me.
Big fan. Here's my question. So one of Charlie's gifts was bringing the different factions of the right together under one movement, supporting MAGA, supporting MAHA, and help to get Trump across the finish line, as well as, I know Charlie and you both worked to get JD up there, which is amazing. 48, let's go. How do we keep that without Charlie? We're already seeing the Republicans, let's battle over group chat, let's battle over foreign policy. And it's like they don't want to keep together what Charlie built.
I strongly agree with that. And it was about maybe 24 hours after he was murdered that I was obviously close to him, and I was so emotional about his death and so sad for Erica and the children that it took.
Pause here for just a second. So do you see what that guy, and he seems to be a Trump supporter, he had on a MAGA hat. Do you see what he's noticing? He's noticing the fracturing there that's happening in the Republican Party. So that guy is noticing that. And I think a lot of the younger people are. And this issue of Israel seems to be one of the driving forces. But like I said, now we're also starting to hear other issues, right? Not just the Israel thing, but also about, hey, why aren't we taking care of people right here in the United States? Now, listen, the whole Make America Great Again thing, I thought that was supposed to be a part of that, right? And so people are starting to realize, wait a minute, if we're sending money over there, we're not investing here. People are losing jobs. Prices are still, expensive. Like things are still expensive. What exactly are we doing? Now, here's the thing. We've heard this from progressives. We've heard this from the left for years. But now you're starting to hear people that did support Trump say the same thing. And that's because it is a class issue. And I think that what continues to keep us divided is these political parties. I think if we didn't have political parties, I don't think we would be as divided in this country. I really don't. You got team red, team blue. Yeah, that's not to say things would be perfect. They wouldn't be perfect. We would still have our issues, but I don't think we would be as divided because then we could focus more on the material things like, oh my God, I can't buy a house because my rent is so expensive and the home prices are so expensive and I can't even come up with the down payment, but I graduated from college and have a degree, but they're not paying me a living wage, things like that. But imagine if we did not have political parties in this country, things could be very different.
It took about a day to realize the political implications of this, which are real. They're not paramount. They're not the most important thing. The most important thing is Erica and his son and daughter, but the country really benefited from Charlie Kirk and benefited for that specific reason that you articulated so well, his ability to bring people together who had most things in common, but not everything, that ecumenical spirit, which was really necessary. I don't have that. I mean, I'm a completely alienating person. Like, people like me or hate me, it's like, I wish I wasn't that way, but I am. Charlie wasn't, and he could hear people who had views that weren't precisely his and say, I think I know what you're saying, or I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and we agree enough that we should be together on this. And I don't know who can do that. It's very obvious to me that the Republican coalition is fracturing over foreign policy, Israel specifically, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame. I mean, I obviously have strong views on this, which I've articulated and made myself even more hated, but it's not the only thing I care about. It's the only thing its advocates care about, that's for sure, which is really a shame. But I would say on most things, the people I've battled with, Mark Levin or whatever, I agree with Mark Levin on a lot. I do. I don't know. I mean, I'm very pro-family. I'm passionately pro-life. I think he is also good. Like, it would be worth being united on those things, and I'm not passing the buck. I mean, I think a lot of us are more, including me, are more divisive or hot-headed than we need to be. Charlie had a lot of emotional self-control, which he was, 20 years younger than me, and I admired that openly, and I told him so. You have control over your own emotions. You take Proverbs seriously. Control your emotions. That's always been a struggle for me. That's a prerequisite for bringing people together, is curbing your tongue, not saying sharp things that you could say. But so I'm not passing the buck. We're all at fault. And the worst people in the world are going to benefit from this if the fracture remains. But I will say that on the foreign policy question, the advocates of neocon foreign policy literally only care about that, from what I can tell. And I would just urge them to, broaden your concerns a little bit. Yes, I understand your emotional connection. I get it. And I'm willing to make allowances for it. But, slow down a little bit. You don't have to hate people just because they don't worship Bibi or something. Like, that shouldn't be the make or break issue. It's a foreign head of state. Like, settle down.
But the problem is, the reason why it even got this far to begin with is because for the longest time, neither of these parties really questioned Israel the way that they should have. It took the genocide to happen. Yeah, there were people within the Democratic Party in particular that were pushing back on Israel. It was like, oh, we got to support the Palestinian people. Jesse Jackson was one of them at one point in time. But the reality is not the way it is today. And that's how we got this far. And It's insane. Like it baffles me, like for the life of me, when I hear someone say we're just supposed to support Israel just because. Like we're literally supposed to put people here last to make sure that Israel is safe and Israel is secure. You don't have security here. Do you have did anybody have security in 2008 from stopping these banks from taking their homes? You see what I mean? Like we don't even have those things here. But it's just weird to me. It's been, entrenched into people's minds that like you just have to do it because we say so. And more people are pushing back. So when Tucker Carlson says, I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu's the head of a foreign state. Yeah. But it's not just Benjamin Netanyahu, it's Israel in particular. We should never put, and this is something I would ask you guys. If you have a family, like say you have kids, and then, maybe a neighbor down the street also has kids. Are you going to let your kids starve? It's not that you don't want to help your neighbor's kids. You can if you will. But are you going to let your kids starve and give all your food to your neighbor's kids? You have to take care of home first. And if you can't take care of home, we can't take care of anything. And we have problems here that we have to deal with. So to me, it's just weird that like either party, like more people weren't like, wait a minute, why are we giving money to Israel? And we haven't fixed things right here in this country. And so I think that what is something that should be very obvious is just not obvious or has not been obvious to a lot of people for a long time. And now people are being like, so Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's the other one they're coming after now? Thomas Massey, right? So they are being told that they're not MAGA now because they don't support Israel. It's baffling to me. Just baffling to me. Ay.
And hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. And I do think when 7 million people take to the streets as they did last weekend, I know they were all like elderly boomers and everyone's laughing at them, but that's a lot of people. And that suggests a very high level of organization and coordination. That's formidable. That's not a joke at all. And I'm not laughing at that. I think it's totally real. And those people do not share my values at all, like at all. And some of them, not all, probably not most, but some of them are scary. I don't want those people in charge again. I saw what happened last time. So like, think big picture for a second. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tucker.
Thanks.
Hey, Tucker.
Before we go to this guy here as well, again, this is in Indiana, if people didn't know like where he was, but this is in Indiana. The other thing that I do want to mention here, yeah, Gus is right. Thomas Massey doesn't accept AIPAC money. Yeah, that's true. I mean, and neither does Marjorie Taylor Greene, but you got Donald Trump right now trying to unseat Thomas Massey because he doesn't want to support Israel. And it's just, we really gotta like wake our minds up, right? Like we really have to get out of like these bubbles where it's like so-and-so says this, so you got to do that. And it's another thing, like I saw it under the Biden-Harris administration too, where people are like, don't criticize them. Don't criticize them. Stop calling him Genocide Joe and just like give them a chance. Meanwhile, we're watching kids get their heads blown off like every other day. On X, I'm seeing a child, half of their body is missing, like on social media, but just give them time, So it happened with both parties where people were willing to make excuses because it was their team that was in there. So that is a big problem. This guy brings up the deep state.
It's great to speak to you.
Thank you.
Great state of Indiana. Let's go Hoosiers.
Let's go.
Hoosiers.
Wait. I'm sorry. I can't let that pass. Before we endorse the Hoosiers, can you explain what a Hoosier is?
No clue.
Ah!
From Fort Lauderdale.
You're not alone. By the way, nobody in Indiana knows what a Hoosier is because there's no definition of it. To which I say, go Hoosiers.
So I had a big kind of question here.
I like the big ones. Hit me, baby.
So I kind of just don't see a lot of change between the Biden administration and now the Trump one in foreign policy. We're still giving a shit ton of money to like Israel and Ukraine. Nothing is happening. The war's not stopped. He promised it'd be done in a day, and it's, I don't know, how many months? 8 months or something like that. It's a long time. Your dad was in the CIA, and I was wondering, does our government even want war to stop? Do they want conflicts to end? It seems like we have a difference of interest where we're getting told one thing and the other is happening, and I feel like there's not enough communication between different sects of government, and I really think the deep state's controlling everything and we have no control.
Well, let me start at.
First of all, can we give a round of applause for that guy? Can we give a round of applause to that guy? Because he apparently knows what is going on. What is going on? Like, right? I don't think Tucker liked that too much when he said, like, your dad was in the CIA. Yeah, I don't think he liked that too much. But yeah, he called it out, right? Like the deep state.
Obviously, you probably sense that I agree with a lot of that. Obviously, leave my father out of it. I'm going to have to kick your ass, which I could do, by the way, if you bring him up again, because he was a wonderful man, whatever, he did for a living. So I really do hate that. But leaving that aside, and don't test me, son. I hate to say I agree with a lot of what, I think you probably know I agree with a lot of what you've said, and it's enormously frustrating. It's shocking, actually. And I do know, I'm not shilling, I just happen to know some of the people who work in the administration who are people who agree with you strongly. I think most Trump voters agree with you. That's why they voted for Donald Trump in the first place. And, no pointless wars was not just a thing he said at one campaign stop. It was a pillar of his campaigns and of MAGA itself. I mean, what is MAGA? There's a mad scramble, particularly since Charlie's passing, to define what this is and to read some people out of the movement. You're not MAGA. Well, what is MAGA? Well, MAGA is 5 things, okay? MAGA is America first, which means Americans should put no country before America. American interests come first. That's not a crazy idea. No pointless wars, period. And by pointless, I mean wars fought on behalf of an ideology or another nation are totally unacceptable. They weaken this country. Wars fought because somebody running a country is bad. Okay, is bad. You're telling me a world leader's bad? All right. Yeah, no. It's impoverished, it's dramatically weakened this country, its social fabric, its treasury, it's killed so many Americans, and it's really weakened America's position globally. So no pointless wars. Bring back American jobs, right? Of meaningful jobs.
Good luck with that one. Remember what I just told you guys about the AI, right? Good luck with that one. Amazon cutting jobs, but good luck with that one.
The call centers who moved to South Asia, AI's crushing the lawyers. What do Americans do for a living? Like, think deeply about that and work to make work a reality for people. I mean, you all are, I assume, still in college. Wait till you graduate. I have a child who just graduated college. Once a week, I'm like, how many of your friends, and these are all like smart, pretty affluent, kind of connected, cute girls. How many of your friends have jobs in New York City? 4 out of 10. That's a disaster, actually. And someone needs to be thinking about that deeply, and the promise of MAGA was that somebody would. And then, of course, immigration. Like, you have to control who comes in and out of your country, or else you're not a country. And I know that it's considered highly controversial to say that the population of America is being replaced by people from other countries, but it's not controversial. It's a mathematical fact. And the numbers are taken by the US Census. And that's just true. Now, some people are for it. I'm against it. I'm from here. I'm against that. I'm against replacing the current population. And it's happening in this country. It's completely happening in Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, and the UK. It's happening to the English-speaking world. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm totally opposed, and so is everyone who voted for Donald Trump.
So the thing is, though, back to the deep state comment that the kid made, because see, these kids aren't stupid. What that guy is saying is that he is not seeing a difference when it comes to foreign policy from the Biden administration and now the Trump administration. That's what he said. So what he is seeing is that when it comes to these wars, when it comes to the military industrial complex, when it comes to hell, at this point, genocide, both parties support the war machine. And yes, Donald Trump made these promises, but you know, he made promises the first time he ran. Biden made promises too. I mean, it's just, that's what this kid is noticing. And I think, you know, Tucker goes into this long monologue or whatever, but he's basically saying to you, Tucker Carlson, that he does not see a difference when it comes to the foreign policy. So this is something I think that is being more exposed over time because we had that, you know, Biden didn't have a re-election. It went from Biden-Kamala administration to back to the Republican Party.
It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a mathematical reality. And stop it now. And the fifth pillar of MAGA, just to be totally clear, is free speech, because it's our birthright as Americans. And so when we talk about cancel culture or the woke or against the, what does that even mean? It means people who are attempting to abridge my ability to speak freely about what I actually believe. That's what that is. It's an attack on free speech. And by the way, the second Trump gets elected, all these people show up who I've never heard of, who are MAGA people. I can't hear you. Can you scream louder? I love the solidarity fist. And
They're saying Tep is Taos.
I couldn't hear what she said, but this is why I'm such an unpleasant person that brings it out of me, and I'm going to really try to be a nice person to screechy. Oh, I could hear that. Anyway. You know, there's all of a sudden this attempt to limit what people can say in public, and it's by people who claim to be MAGA. It's like insane. And I'm really shocked by it. So again, those are the 5 pillars of MAGA. To be clear, I didn't make them up. Donald Trump articulated them consistently for 10 years, a full decade. He's dominated American politics for 10 years on the basis of those 5 ideas. And a central one of those 5, the 5 pillars of Donald Trump, is no pointless wars. He ran on it. He talked about it extensively. He explained why he thought it, including in interviews with me. And, you know, I will give allowances that the world is super complicated and conflicts are very hard to end. Easy to start, hard to end, which is why you don't enter into them lightly. It's like marriage. Pretty easy to get married, go to Vegas, hard to get divorced. And that is true for wars. And so I will allow that because I'm familiar with some of the details. It's hard.
What that gentleman was looking for Tucker Carlson to do in this moment was to hold Donald Trump accountable for not upholding what he said he was going to accomplish. Tucker Carlson, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, they still don't want to call out Trump. They still don't want to point their finger and say, hey, he ran on these things. He's not doing it. And now Tucker Carlson, I don't know what his reason is for doing it. Maybe because he still wants some access. And like he said, he does have friends in the Trump administration. So there's that too. Could be an access issue. I don't know. But that gentleman is looking for Tucker Carlson to say, you know what? Donald Trump didn't do what he said that he was going to do. How hard is it and how difficult is it for Tucker Carlson to say that? What I just said. That's what he is looking for. And he went into this long speech here about getting married and all these other analogies. And then this other gentleman here that approached him, this guy's funny. He decided to call out Tucker Carlson's past as a journalist. Listen to this.
I wonder, like, for you, like being at CNN, being at Fox, and like you say, you know, you're all against disinformation, but you were, you know, up there with Sean Hannity, just repeating talking points, you know, on Fox News with that Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes were just telling you to say. That got the Tea Party started. You can't tell me that you weren't conscious that you were spreading disinformation. In 2020,
Wait, hold on. You've already.
I had an example.
No. I'm gonna need. First of all, I never got talking points from males or.
Okay. Well, I'm
from
sure they
Rupert.
didn't directly give them to you, obviously.
Okay. Well, I worked there for 15 years, so if you're interested in like what it was like, I'm happy to tell you as honestly as I can.
Well, it's just,
but let me just ask what disinformation means.
I think disinformation can come across in a lot of.
No, but what is
ways.
it? What is it?
It is purposefully trying to mislead people.
So it's lying.
It can be, yeah, I mean, that's an example.
Let's just call it lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be lying just, oh, that's a lie.
Okay, so we just cut 3 syllables off the word. That's a win.
Okay.
That's a Doge move. We went from disinformation to lying.
All right.
Yeah.
So like, do you not feel like you've been part of contributing to the rise of essentially just people gaslighting each other and just like, what are your
What's gaslighting?
What are your personal convictions? Like, do you sometimes forget what you actually believe versus like what you thought?
How old are you, son?
Too old. I'm old. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I remember. I've seen you for a lot. Like the text.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like when you texted.
Okay, well,
I can't wait for Trump to. I hate him with passion. Like with a passion. Like you had those came out in court, and that's what you thought. But at the same time, you were actively supporting Trump and the whole 2020 election situation. So that's disinformation right there.
Okay, so you're giving me a lecture about what I think. And I do think.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I promised in the spirit of Charlie, I would not use profanity from the stage.
It's okay. I'm French. You can shit on me all you want, dude.
Okay. It's called merde, son. Okay, I would. Rather than tell me what I think or what my experience was, I think it's, and I've done that to a lot of people. I've told people what they think. So I've committed that sin. So I'm familiar with it. I'm not judging you, but I'm just giving you advice. It's more evocative. It's more productive to ask what people think.
That's what I'm trying to ask.
And so you're saying you participated, I think you're saying, in a lot of things that were false and bad for the country. And what do you really think?
Yeah,
so I would answer your
thought process.
I would answer your second question first. I really try to be as transparent as I possibly can. I think you just scoffed in the microphone.
I mean, there was text that came out in court finally.
Would you like to know what that was? Because I'll tell you.
I'm sure everyone would love to know. Yeah, when the Dominion lawsuit.
Oh, you're one of the most annoying people I've ever dealt with. This is why I don't come to college. No, but hold on. I'm gonna no.
Triggered. Here's the thing. I think what he is referring to, the young guy in the audience. Remember when I believe it was Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow? They were able to argue that they were technically infotainment. I think that's what he could be referring to. But yeah, he got triggered real bad.
No. Hold on. I'm going to apologize. I just want to apologize for saying that. Okay, so.
That's such an honor.
Yeah, I know. My views are like on the internet, and I don't work for anybody but me. I'm in business with my college roommate. I have no incentive to ever lie at all, and I really try not to. I supported the Iraq War pretty vehemently. I supported the nomination of a Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett. That was a huge mistake. Sorry. I think not what I thought she was. I support John Roberts. I support, what's the list of dumb things I've supported in my life is very long. I think I've learned something from those mistakes. I'm happy to admit how dumb they were. I've spent the last 22 years trying to atone for my support for the Iraq War.
I appreciate that. And
hold on, I'm not. Okay, now you're annoying me again.
Oh my God.
Not here for your affirmation. So I would say, as to the text specifically, you want to actually know? I mean, are you even willing to hear it? I'll tell you exactly what that was. Those are between me and a producer of mine who I really love, who I still am close to, and that was about. It was in January after the election, and Trump was saying they stole it from me. And I called the White House and I said, I'm totally willing to believe that. I mean, Zuckerberg puts, $400 million into the mechanics of elections. I don't think he's doing that because he believes in good government. What is this? It's clearly their stuff. And I say to the White House, someone specifically at the White House, give me examples. And he says, I have got a great example for you. I've got 7 or 8 dead people who voted. And the beauty of that claim was it's provable because they're death certificates. And we've got the death certificates and we've got the obits, and they voted, and they're on the voter rolls. We know they voted.
It's not just about this particular issue, though. It's not even just about that particular issue. You know, like for years, I watched, before I even started the show, I watched people on independent media debunk Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow, debunk these corporate media pundits that were just telling blatant lies, and they were able to debunk them with actual data and facts and, you know, like those types of things. And so, yeah, they did lie. They still lie. Like even now you watch CNN gets caught in lies so many times. Fox News gets caught in lies multiple times. Or my favorite is when they omit information from the story just so they can get like their narrative across. Like it does happen. He was a part of that. Own it and just say you were a part of that. So it's not just that particular example.
Well, I mean, talk about slam dunk. I'm not repeating anything I can't prove. I don't trust any campaign, period. I never have on either side. I just don't trust campaign consultants. They're disgusting. I still think that. But this seemed like a verifiable hit. So I go out there and I say, there's a lot of talk, and you can pull up the tape. There's a lot of talk about, you know, election theft. We're working on it. And I'm working at Fox News, so there's like a lot of, you know, like let's find out what happened. But we know that 7 or 10 dead people voted, and here are their names. Miss Wanda Johnson of Sioux City, Iowa, and, you know, Jack Klein of Corpus Christi, Texas, and I would go through the whole name, you know, and we'll put the obits up. Well, within like 25 minutes, a couple of the dead people call CNN to say, we're not dead. And CNN runs this whole thing exposing that I have just like made this colossal error on the air. There's nothing I hate more than being wrong and humiliated like that, because like I have a staff, we should get this right. And I didn't get it right because it's so easy to check whether or not someone has died that I didn't check. And I was enraged. And I was just enraged by the whole thing. And my position was, at the time, if you're going to claim it was stolen, prove it to me. I'm an adult man.
Yeah. People don't need all that, but it's honestly, someone said, what was the question again? Yeah. He was triggered by that one. That one, I think really like got under his skin. When we talk about like taking our power back, one thing I can tell you that I've noticed from like the youth today, they are fearless. They are fearless, and yet at the same time, so afraid of their future. Because the generations that came before them and the people in power did not leave a world that they can look forward to, or an economy that they can look forward to. But at the same time, they're not afraid to say what they're thinking. They're not afraid to just ask these questions, to just put it all out there. They're not afraid. They're not afraid to have encampments. The same youth that we're talking about, obviously is more MAGA, but the youth all together, they are not afraid to confront what they feel is an issue. They're not afraid to do it. It was the youth who did the college encampments. That went on for quite a while. The youth who rose up in the streets for Gaza. There's still protests for Gaza. I watched these kids like try to hold their spot on the college lawn while they were getting hit over the head by campus police. And also the NYPD. I watched these kids try to hold their spot. They are not afraid. I think if anything, we really have to look to the young people. We talk about also taking our power back, because they know that this may be all they have is their voice, and they're not afraid to use it. And I feel like sometimes they use it in ways that maybe my generation did not. And so they take their power back by doing that. The same generation that, can't put a down payment on a house. don't know if the field that they're majoring in college right now, if that job is even going to be available when they graduate, or it's going to be taken by AI. Living in shoebox apartments with all the roommates and all that kind of stuff. Like, these kids who just don't know, these are the same kids, we have to remember, that just a couple years ago went through a pandemic in a lot of these states that were locked down, and they didn't know what was going to happen. Kids that went from learning inside the school to having to go home and get up in the morning and attend their classes on their laptop via Zoom, when some people didn't even use Zoom before that time. These are those same kids. They are fearless, and I think they are not afraid to stand up for things. That kid was not afraid. The other kid was not afraid to say, yeah, I don't see a difference between the Biden administration and the Trump administration when it comes to foreign policy. The other kid is not afraid to stand up and say, yeah, you were telling a lot of lies when you were on Fox News. I wish, and I say this, I wish I had the courage that these kids have. I wish I had that back then. I wish I had that when I was their age. I didn't have that. So listen, let me tell you something. You cannot get anything past them. They are very resourceful. They are well researched, and they come ready. They take their power back this way. There's many different ways that people can do this. But I don't like when people put the youth down, because I look at the youth and I see different things. I look at them and I see, oh, wow, I wasn't doing that at their age, I think we got to cut the kids a little bit of slack. And I think also what this particular story here showed me is that all this stuff that happened with Charlie Kirk's death, which I still question, with Charlie Kirk's death, with the donors pulling out of Turning Point USA, Tucker Carlson ended up speaking at a Turning Point event anyway. And the people seemed to welcome him. So who had the right idea here? Charlie Kirk or the donors? Something to think about. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.